Hey guys, how's it going and thanks for coming. I'm Nick, this is Real Life Money, and in this video we're going over the 8 saving tips of the almighty Warren Buffett. Of course, one of the best investors of our time, but you could arguably say that Buffett has some frugal tips of his own. And that's exactly what we're going to be going over. Starting off with number 1, which is using the power of savings. So this is kind of breaking it down of budgeting your money. Very simple, yet not many people do it. Very popular quote is that you should spend what's left over from savings instead of saving what's left over from spending, because there's nothing left over from spending. Relating this back to you and me, which would be obviously go over your budget, but I like to focus on my cash flow every single month. So you do your income minus your expenses gives you your monthly cash flow, and that is the money that you could play with. So if it's maybe, let's say, $500 a month, you could then use that for other things such as savings or what we're going to talk about later. Number 2 is spend wisely. So we just talked about budgeting. However, you should watch out for what you spend on. A lot of things are liabilities. They depreciate and then you end up with nothing, which is why a lot of people end up broke anyway. I also think you could relate this to opportunity cost. So looking at, let's say we're looking at $100. What could you use that $100 for? And if you spend it on something, very simple concept, however very important, that once that's spent, that means it cannot be used in some other way. You cannot save that $100. You can't pay debt off with that $100. And at the same time, might be ironic, however, if you're able to spend money to possibly save time, that might be a good investment as well. Again, what you and me could do is simply look at where your money is going. Look at your bank statements, look at your credit card statements, and see what you're spending money on or saving money toward or investing or anything like that to understand exactly where your money's going. Number 3 saving tip of our friend Mr. Buffett is save for the unexpected. Now I think we could look at this in a couple different ways. The first way is that it could be a possible crash or correction or anything like that at any time. So like right now, Buffett has a huge cash pile because if the economy crashes, things are very low, very cheap that he's able to buy up. So because he's able to save, he could then buy those things cheap. When things go back up, they appreciate, and he makes money. They say no one knows when the next correction, crash, recession, or depression is going to happen. So, like right now, he is saving for the unexpected. But at the same time, if you're not trying to, let's say, time the next crash, you could also save for the unexpected looking at the short term. So yes, this could be like unexpected things that life throws at you. So it could be relating to unexpected expenses, or at the same time, let's say something you need in the short term. Maybe a car. Maybe you're trying to save up to buy a house or something like that. So you're saving up in the shorter term. It is kind of more of the expected, but it's really the mindset of a narrow time frame. So what could you and me do? Well, depending on your time frame and risk tolerance and everything, but if you're just saving up for life, if you're saving up for a car or house in the short term, could be a simple savings account or a money market account. You don't want much risk there. It's not a personal favorite of mine, but if you want like a CD. Now I will say it's a weird time right now where all interest rates are ridiculously low. So don't expect to get any type of interest rate. Just save your money somewhere. Number 4 saving tip is use debt carefully and limit what you borrow. So obviously if you're a Dave Ramsey fan, he despises all different kinds of debt. However, Buffett is talking about use it wisely. So obviously credit card debt and just all that type, like personal loans and stuff like that, obviously that's not good, especially if it's 20+% interest rate. You're going to get destroyed. However, if you use it wisely, if you borrow money to possibly get a piece of real estate, now this could either be for yourself to live in, which is a little bit different than possibly an investment for, let's say, a renter. So you borrow money to create passive income. At the same time, limit what you're borrowing. So don't over leverage. A great quote that I love, not from Warren Buffett, it's actually from the movie The Big Short. One of the main characters in the movie stated that people sometimes mistake leverage for genius. And unfortunately, when things get hit hard, especially when you're leveraged, you get hit even harder, which is why you should limit your borrowing. Number 5 I love a lot is think long term. And I don't believe it's only investment wise, but it's also mindset wise. So before we kind of mentioned short term, maybe prepare for something in the near future. However, instead of thinking for something a few seconds into the future or for tomorrow or even the next week, start thinking of a year or years or even a decade into the future. When you widen your time horizon, you could actually make better decisions that way. This could really narrow down your needs and wants. Because if you want something right now and you have a narrow time horizon, it doesn't matter, you want it so you buy it. When you take a step back and look at a longer time horizon, then that certain thing might not really matter at all. So then you might make a better decision for your future self. And it could also relate to the investing side. So number 6 is invest the Warren Buffett way. So if you know anything about Warren Buffett, it's that he gets rich slowly. He made the most amount of his money after the age of 60 due to compounding. When it starts, it might suck. However, over time, it grows exponentially. And that's what you should really focus on. And the idea of index funds. If you're not going to do all the amount of research and looking into specific companies, having an index fund, like mirroring the entire market, you'll do fantastic. He has a bet against hedge funds that only millionaires could buy into. He says the S&P 500, a simple index fund, is going to outperform a hedge fund. And he's winning on that bet. Now, how to do that is if you want to open up, let's say, a retirement account, maybe a Roth IRA or something like that. A very popular one is with Vanguard, and just buying an index fund. Invest in it every single month, and boom, you could grow into your own very Warren Buffett. Number 7, I mean, these are all important. This is another important one, is to live a modest lifestyle and live beyond paycheck to paycheck. So obviously one simple idea is that when you get a raise or a promotion or a new job or something like that, you start making more money, right? Everyone's or most people's first instinct is to spend that money. When if you get a raise and you get more money, you actually bank that money, invest it, save it, do what have you. You live modestly, you live the same lifestyle, and you grow that money on the side. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. He still lives in his old house in Omaha, Nebraska. He hasn't really changed much. He's living a modest lifestyle. He enjoys and he is content with what he has and invests the rest, which is why he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. So think about that as well, especially in your next raise or something like that, or your next job. Don't spend the extra money. Save it or invest it. Maintain your lifestyle and learn to enjoy what you already have. And number 8, which everyone states but I think is very important, is of course investing in yourself. Now this could relate to education, learning more knowledge, reading more books, finding new channels, subscribing to this one if you like. Or if you want to get huge returns, you could actually invest into your own business. And a business could actually return much higher than a simple 8 to 10% like the stock market. So if you're starting a small business, you could actually see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100% growth. So one quick example, this channel. Last year I had 1,000 subscribers. Now I'm actually pushing so close to 3,000 subscribers. So 1 to 3,000, that's over a 100% gain. Heck, that's pushing a 200% gain. Stock market of a 10% versus your possible business, what could be much more greater. And I want to throw in my own little bonus tip just to get your mind going, is also don't only focus on money. Money is very important and compounded and everything like that. However, also focus on time. With more time, you obviously compound, but time is the most valuable resource on the planet because you can't get it back. So prioritize time over money. If you could actually spend more or spend a little extra to get more time, that could actually be beneficial to you. And those are basically the personal finance tips, all of them that you would ever know, because that's basically it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I saw these tips. Buffett's like an investing type of guy, right? So I wanted to hear his like just saving money type of thing. And I saw these tips from a website. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to check that out. But the main idea, you know the steps now. You know the tips. You know exactly what to do. Don't worry about any other information. This is really the main information to focus on. Now we just gotta do it. So thanks so much for watching again, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll see ya in the next one.